Steven Seagal, once the towering icon of action cinema, now faces a reality that is far removed from the glitz and adrenaline of his Hollywood heyday. At 73, the man who seemed untouchable on the silver screen embodies a story of heartbreak and complexity that few could have anticipated. Born in Lansing, Michigan, Seagal's early life was steeped in the discipline of martial arts. From a young age, he immersed himself in Aikido, eventually achieving a 7th Dan black belt and gaining recognition as a martial arts instructor, even training law enforcement personnel. This dedication to skill and discipline paved the way for his Hollywood breakthrough in 1988 with Above the Law, where his blend of stoicism, physical prowess, and calm intensity captured audiences worldwide. Through the 90s, Seagal dominated action films with titles like Hard to Kill, Marked for Death, and the blockbuster Under Siege, cementing his status as a leading man whose name alone could fill theaters. Yet behind the persona of the invincible action hero lay a life increasingly complicated by controversy, personal struggles, and public scrutiny. As fame grew, so did the shadows. Legal disputes, allegations of misconduct, and strained professional relationships began to overshadow his on-screen achievements, creating a gap between public admiration and private reality. Seagal's fascination with spirituality, Eastern philosophy, and humanitarian endeavors, which might have offered solace, were often misunderstood or ridiculed, further isolating him from the world that once celebrated him. Beyond fame and controversy, there were intimate personal struggles that added to the tragedy of his life. Maintaining meaningful personal relationships proved difficult, and insiders describe a sense of loneliness that has persisted over the years. Health concerns, inevitable after decades of performing physically demanding stunts and martial arts feats, began to add another layer of challenge. Despite these obstacles, Seagal has demonstrated resilience, exploring reality television, music, and international film projects as ways to reinvent himself. Yet the disparity between the heroic figure of his prime and the man navigating aging, criticism, and diminished fame is stark. The heartbreak of Steven Seagal lies not only in fading stardom but also in the sense of isolation and struggle that fame, life choices, and public scrutiny have compounded. For decades, he was admired for strength, control, and charisma. Now, nostalgia and reflection frame those same qualities through a lens of melancholy. The fearless action star of the 90s contrasts sharply with the 73-year-old confronting the realities of a long, turbulent life. His journey illustrates the human vulnerability beneath the veneer of celebrity, the reality that even the most legendary figures are not immune to personal pain, loneliness, and regret. The story of Steven Seagal also serves as a cautionary tale about the costs of fame and the complex interplay of public image, private choices, and consequence. As he faces this stage of life, the former superstar navigates a world that no longer idolizes him as it once did, while carrying the weight of both his accomplishments and his controversies. It is a life marked by highs few will ever know, and lows that feel intimately relatable, a paradox that underscores the tragedy of his journey. The contrast between what the world sees, the confident, martial arts-savvy action icon, and what he experiences behind closed doors, the solitude, health struggles, and personal reflection, creates a poignant story of human complexity. At 73, Steven Seagal's tale is less about the heroics on screen and more about the vulnerability of a man confronting aging, public scrutiny, and the consequences of decades of choices. Fame may have immortalized him as an action legend, but it could not shield him from the heartbreaks of life, the passage of time, or the profound sense of isolation that can accompany celebrity. His story reminds us that legends are human too, and that the strength displayed in movies cannot always translate to immunity from personal trials, controversies, or inner struggles. Steven Seagal's life, once defined by unstoppable prowess and cinematic dominance, now offers a deeply human and bittersweet reflection on fame, resilience, and the inescapable reality of mortality.